Hi there, this is Art and Such with the Rainbow Loom tutorial for Draculaura from Monster High. She goes with the rest of my Monster High set. For this pattern, you're going to need some black bands, some purple or pink bands for the dress, a lighter shade of pink for the little bow, some skin tone bands. I'm using a couple of small pony beads for the eyes. They look just like this. And I will be drawing on pupils with a Sharpie marker at the end. And I've also used a brighter pink in the hair. And you'll want a hook. You can have a holding hook on hand if that's something you feel will be helpful. You'll need your loom in the offset configuration. I feel like I'm missing something here. I did include a little heart-shaped bead on with my bow, so I can show you how to add that if you have something comparable at home. Oh, and a C-clip. I think that's everything. So what we'll do is we'll begin with the feet and the legs. We'll work on the arms, and then onto the loom, and we'll continue from there. So for our shoes, you are going to take one purple band, wrap it onto your hook 1, 2, 3 times. You can make it a little tighter if you choose to. Take 2 purple bands, put them on the end, and slide it through. I've got the long fingernails today, they get in the way a little bit. Hold on. Alright, we're going to take a single purple band, wrap it on the end 1, 2, 3 times, and we want this to sit in the middle of the first piece. So I'm going to lift the 2 that are closer and bring it over until it sits in the middle. From here, we're going to take 2 more purple bands, put them onto the hook, and slide all of this over. You want to try to keep it in the same order as best you can. Even that out a little bit. Now, if you decide that you don't want to have the little heels, you can leave out the next part. I'm going to show you how to add that on though. That gives it more of the heel shoe shape. So to add on the heels, to include that, you're going to take a single, wrap it on the end of your hook 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Take another single band, stretch it, twist it, pull it back onto itself the way you would with a elastic band for your hair. This goes on the end, and you're just going to slide that wrapped band over, the one that you just wrapped, and replace it. So this is the front of the shoe, this is the heel of the shoe. We'll put that onto 2 more purple bands, place them on the end, transfer the piece that you just made, that's your heel, transfer the other piece and replace it, or return the other side to the hook. Okay, we'll take another single on the end, 1, 2, 3 wraps, bring it into the middle. So I'll show you again, we want this to sit in between. So this piece will get lifted over. Not off the hook, but just over the wrapped band. Sits in between there. And this will go onto 2 more purple. And after that we'll switch to our skin tone bands. Now when I do the second foot and leg, I am going to go a little bit faster, so if you want to pause and go through the shoe again here and then continue. You can do that, or you can do the second one along with me. It will be a little bit quicker the next time through. And when you're ready, we'll get some skin tone bands handy, and we want 7 sets of double or 2 bands to create a chain. So I'm going to put 2 on the end, slide it through and replace. And again, this is the second time. A third time, 4 sets, 5 sets, 6 sets, and then just 1 more. If you're trying to save on your skin tone bands, you can take, you know, if that feels too long for you or you don't want to use as many because she does have a skirt, you can leave out 1 set. That's up to you. And then we're going to put this onto 2 purple bands, and that's 1 leg. So I am going to do the second one with you, but if you like that pace, you can go back and rewatch the first round. If you're feeling confident, you know what you're doing here, then stick with me. We'll run through a little bit faster. So second shoe, single wrapped 3 times, pull onto 2, put 1 on to wrap for the middle, 3 times, bring it inside, pull that onto 2, a single wrapped, and I've kept my other leg on the hook. If you're feeling like it's in your way, you can move it to another hook yourself. Wrap, doubled over single. So this one, when I double it over, stretch, twist, bring it back on top, nice and tight, slide it on. Even it out. This goes on to 2 more. All of the pieces here. Another single one in the middle. I'm going to give that one an extra wrap, I think, just because it's a little loose. And that goes on to 2 more purple, and then we're on to the skin tone again. Keep the bands in order as best I can. And our 7 sets of double skin tone bands. You don't have to worry right now about which way the shoes are facing. That's something you can adjust as you like when we get onto the loom. 7 sets of double skin tone. It's 2, 3, 4, oops. Hold on. 5, 6, and 1 more, and then 2 purple. 2 purple bands, not 2 sets, just 2 more purple bands. Haven't been doing well, any of these videos in quite a while. Unfortunately, life's thrown me for a bit of a wild ride the last couple of years here, but I'm hoping I can start finding a little time here and there to return to this. Oh, you know what? I did forget something. If you have some white bands, you can add those on the collar and a gold band for the belt, but not no worries if not. Let's do the arms. So the arms I made are a little bit long actually, but the suggested length I'm going to give you is 8 doubled over single bands. So what that looks like, I'll get you started here. A single wrapped on your hook, 1, 2, 3 times. And then we're going to take another single, stretch, twist, double it over, pull it through, and 7 more of those. So here's another one, and we'll keep going. Okay, so that would be my 8 there. Yeah, so I haven't been doing a lot of looming lately. I'll just tell you off the top of my mind here some of the patterns I was hoping to still pursue, which many have been requested. Are maybe some more Monster High characters. I know I was asked for some from The Walking Dead. Those ones I've been having a little trouble with. And I know there were some series like the Mickey Mouse and I'm going to do the other arm now as single and then onto 8 doubled over singles. What were some of the others? Naruto and Akira. If you have some idea of something that you can't find, I won't make any promises, but I can do my best and have a look if there's something you think might be worth a go. Something you'd really like to see. I would love to get some more ideas and find what I can find here. Okay, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and please be patient with me if you don't get see your pattern or the video for some time, or if it isn't one that I figure out a way for. I do come back to old patterns and try them again, but sometimes it does take a while. All right, we have our 2 legs and our 2 arms. And you know what? I think we will make the little pink bow tie next. If that's something you don't want to include, you don't have to, of course. If you would like to have that piece, what we do is we take our pink or bow colored bands. We'll take a single, double it over, and just at the bottom of the loom I'm going to come down from the 3rd from the bottom to the 2nd from the bottom on each of the rows. And one more time until you reach the bottom. Now I wanted a big ruffle here, so I actually have added an extension. If you'd like to do that with me, then what you do is take a single, wrap it on your hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 if you can handle it. This will go onto a doubled over single, and onto one more doubled over single. You'll take the part that's on the hook, all 4 of those loops, and transfer them onto the 3rd peg from the bottom on one of the sides. I'm doing it on the side closest to me here, which is the left. And for all of the side extensions, what we'll be doing is pulling it down. And you want to just grab a little piece out of it's hard to see on this one because it's very tight, but you want to grab a little piece, not from the very bottom, but from the next bit of the link. Take a doubled over single band, and this will go across the 2nd pegs down from the bottom, like so, to form a triangle. And the last thing we'll do for this section is to take single bands and wrap them nice and tightly, 3, 4, or 5 if you can manage it, on the bottommost pegs on each of the rows. one more. If you find that's too tight, you can go back to just 4 loops. Now with your hook, or you can use a separate hook if it's easier for you. For each of the rows, you're going to put your hook in through the wrapped band and grab the doubled over single band, which is underneath. Wiggle it carefully around and set it down onto the next peg up. Go into the triangle band, get only the bottom doubled over single, and bring it up. And if you need to wriggle anything to the side, change your angle, go for it. On the middle row, I'll do the same. So get inside the wrapped band, wriggle around the 2 loops of the doubled over band and put them onto the peg above. Come up one more time. And last one. And there. So you've looped up twice on each of these sets. You can carefully, with the back of your hook, pop the bottom wrapped bands off of the bottom pegs. And the next one, carefully, carefully. And when you're ready, you'll put your hook down through all of the bands on the far side, and then down through all the bands in the middle and through the other side. And we'll put this onto, you can put it onto a doubled over single is probably easiest, probably best here. Okay, so twist, put it together, and carefully slide that all over. And this can stay on your hook for the moment once you have it there. The heart-shaped bead I added on to mine at the very end, so don't worry about that right now. Give me just a second, I'm gonna double check one thing. Yeah, oh, that's right. Okay. Oh yes, that's what I did. Okay, there is one more piece here. There you'll see 4 loops on the hook. You want to take the 2 that are furthest from the end and bring them over the top of the hook. That's going to create a slip knot, well, slip knot? I don't know, some kind of knot here, so that we have just 2 loops on now, and that will make it easier to attach. Okay, now we can go to our loom. All right, so starting at the top of the loom, you can use 2 skin tone bands. If you want to save your skin tone bands, you can use purple, your dress color, or you can use white, or you can use the pink you used on the bow. Any of those should work. But this is going to be the attachment piece for the neck. So we're going to do the body and then come back to do the head after. And from here we'll come down once with 2 bands in pink, the color of your bow, because it's going to be sitting behind the bow, so we want it to blend. That's in the middle. And on either side we'll switch to the color you're using for the dress. I'm using purple. And the second, we'll go second peg in the middle to the second peg down on the side, and repeat that for the other side. Okay. In the middle, I went down twice with white bands because she has a bit of a white blouse. Now that won't show up very well, but if we're going for detail, that's there. You could have the white go down further and play around with that, you know, in some different ways if you'd like. And if you want to have the whole dress purple or go with a different route, you can. Just looking here, okay, so the next set here, I did use 3 originally to make it, or no, I used 4. I used 4 whites up here so it would stand out a little bit more. I don't think you really need to, but that's an option if you want to try that out. Or you can just use 2, and they're going to come down with 2 sets. And before I forget, let's put our bow on. So I'm going to pop this top white one off for a minute. If you want to take more of this off, you can, but essentially we're going to transfer this pink onto the 2 pink bands that are coming from the second to the third peg. So if you want to take some of this off, it's not a difficult transfer or a big jump back, but that's all we need to do, is slide it over. Don't worry about which way it faces, and then those 2 whites, 2 sets of white. Okay, on either side, we're going to come down once with double purple bands, so 2 at a time, from the second peg down to the third peg down. And again, if you'd like to thicken up this upper area, you can use additional purple on the next set, and I used 5. I'm going to do that again. If you're not comfortable with that, or you're saving bands, or you're not interested in having that effect, you can just put 2 more. I'm going to use all 5 on that from the third to the fourth pegs down on the side. And for symmetry's sake, we'll do the same on the other. 3 and 4 and 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sets of double purple bands come down the middle, starting at the 5th peg down. So let me put those on, and then I'll hold it up for you to see. So on my just standard loom here, it will end 2 pegs from the bottom. On either side, we're going to come down until you're at 2 pegs from the bottom on the side, so it'll finish off just below. I'll do a count as I go here. So starting from the 4th peg down, we have 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, 5, 6, and 7. We'll repeat on the other side. Okay, we can put our arms and legs on. So for the arms, if you'd like to have just that little white collar piece there, or I guess it's not a collar, like a sleeve cuff. I don't know if I wrote that. Oh, there we go. I did write it down. I'm using 3 whites. You can add more to make it extra puffy, or you can just use 2 if, again, if that's all the same to you. 3 white bands. Bring the arm piece over and transfer that onto which side do I want it here? Onto the 2nd peg down from the top. All 6 of those loops there. I'm trying to turn mine so that the arm curls in a little bit, but no worries if it doesn't, or you can play around with it. Twist it around. It's not too hard to do. And the other arm, we'll take 3. Slide the skin tone bands on, transfer that onto this side. Again, I'm going to angle it down so that it faces the way I want. Another way to do this would be to take the whole piece off and transfer it onto another hook to flip it, but again, you can fiddle around with that. For the legs, we'll take, oh, no, I'm going to just give you a kind of option here before I start on holding bands. I used single bands for the skirt and one doubled over single band, I believe, around here. I think that shall show in my picture here. Hold on. Okay, from the across the 1, 2, 3, 4, across the 5th pegs down, I used a doubled over. Now, if you want the skirt to be a little bit tighter, or at any point, you can use more doubled over singles in the sections where you want it to be tighter. If you want it to have this form, then stick with me. But I mention this now because when you do the leg piece, you have the option of putting both leg sections onto 2 bands, or you can put them both onto a doubled over single. That would make it very tight at the bottom, but that's an option if you're going to have the skirt's bands be a little bit tighter. I'm going to use the 2. I like it with that little bit of puffiness. The 2 bands I've put the legs onto are going to stretch from the 3rd peg up from the bottom on one side and across to the other side, and then you'll put your hook between the legs and bring this over. Something looks a little bit funny there. Hold on. There we go. Okay. There. So you'll have one leg on either side. Again, if you have concerns or a preference now about which way the legs are facing, you can take that piece off and just turn one of them around, and that will solve your problem. Now, purple triangular holding bands, take a single, wrap it across the 3rd pegs from the top, repeat on the next one. On the next one, I did use the doubled over singles. And as I say, if you want for any of the other parts to be a little bit tighter, you can use more doubled over singles. Otherwise, we'll continue with just singles stretched across. You don't have to twist them around. It's a little late to say this, but if you feel the skirt is too long, you could always take off one row and bring your legs up a bit. Okay. I believe we have one more thing to do before we loop up the body. Yep. And that is to create side extensions. Without the side extensions, her dress will look something like this. So if you want it to be a very, very thin dress, you can leave it that way. I want that little puff on the side, the little rounding. So I'm going to do side extensions, and for that we take a single purple, wrap it once on the hook. Twice on the hook, and I'm going to use 6 sets of double bands together, so a chain of 6 sets of double bands. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll take the part that's on the hook and attach it to the 5th peg from the top. Looks like the 5th peg here. The 5th peg from the top. That's where we have our doubled over. So I took it off of the hook and put it onto the loom right there. And turn this around a little bit. So we take the tail and stretch it down, and you'll be able to see the different sections of the chain stretched out there. So you want to go and find the next sort of circle of them, pull one loop out, and bring it over the next peg below where it was attached. Repeat that on the next one. This keeps it from hanging loose from the side. And that very last one, the very bottom piece, will go onto the bottommost peg of the ones we've used. We'll do this for the other side. I'm going to go just a little bit faster. Twist twice and 6 sets of double bands. Take the bands on the hook and bring them onto the 5th peg down on the opposite side. It'll line up with the first side. And we're going to take one piece out of each section to bring over the pegs below. And I'll grab just one loop out of the bottommost one and bring that over the bottom there. Okay, and we are ready to loop this up. So for each of the side rows, you want to find the bottom 2 bands. You'll put your hook into the peg through everything above and bring up only the bottom 2 bands. Do this again for the next one, so you can use your hook or your fingers or a different angle to find the bottom 2. Push back or go inside and push back everything above and bring that forward. And we'll continue to do that right to the top. If you find that you're getting a little bit of extra tension on your loom, you can release some of the lower pieces as you loop them in, but just be careful because we haven't done that for the other, secured anything on the other rows yet. You don't want to lose them. Now here I had 5 bands, so if you used more than 2, just make sure that you're getting all 5 up. If you're really struggling, you can pull a couple of bands out of your way and take out a couple of those. Here we go. Okay, and when you get to the top, go in through the arm addition, get the bottom 2 purple and bring them to the 2nd peg down in the center. We'll do this we'll do this on the other side, so you can turn your loom around if that's what you need to do. If you see something coming loose along the way as you go, you want to try to grab it and catch it and fix it. If you keep going, it's going to unravel on you, but hopefully you're finding all the bands you need and not running into any troubles over there. I was worried I would be completely out of shape, but this has been such a long time since I've had a chance to loom. It's the beauty of art, as it often comes back to you. Okay, and then I'm going to loop in the middle. When you turn it to the side, you should be able to see, like, you won't see anything hanging loose underneath, and that will tell you that you've got all the pieces you need. And we'll go down to the middle, and where the legs are, you get the 2 purple bands, bring them forward, and you can continue looping up straight to the top of your loom. Sorry, there shouldn't be anything in your way at this point. I feel like this is a different hook from the one I used to use. I think it's the right size, but it's a tiny bit more slippery than what I'm used to. Okay. As I say, it's been a little while. Don't worry about your bow. We're just going to take those 2 pinks, bring them forward, nothing different, nothing extra, and then the 2 whites at the bottom. Hold on to at the top, the bottom of the peg, but the top of the loom. Hold on to those or put them on a hook, and you can start releasing some of the other sections carefully. as I mangle mine. Okay. As you're taking this off, when you're ready, you can put your hook through all 4 loops or 2 bands on that top center peg and release that. We'll get the rest of this off the loom. Almost there. Okay. Yay. Oh, I'm so happy with this. Okay, there's the body. We'll pop that on the side just for a minute and start on the hair and the head, the face. So for that, we're going to take 2 black bands. Now if you want to incorporate more pink than I have, feel free to throw it in wherever. I'm just going to do it as I did originally. 2 black down top center to top side, repeat on the other side and come down twice on, oh sorry, come down once on each row. Then we're going to switch to skin tone. Come down 3 times in the middle and twice on each side with double bands. Let me pop those on and then I'll show you. Now I know she has, is sometimes portrayed with the heart on her face, so if you have a bead or a decal, a charm you want to incorporate in that way, go for it. Love to see some of your results pictures. You can send them to me on Instagram. I'm on there as Art and Such as well. Take 2 single skin tone, 4th side to the 5th middle, and repeat on the other side. So you're going to close the face part in. Doubled over single skin tone band across your second pegs from the top, down from the top. Make a little triangle. Another time along the 4th ones down. And then for your eyes, I'm going to use beads that will fit onto my hook. If you have smaller beads, you can use floss or wire to try and thread those on. I'll show you a method for that when I get to the heart bead. So if you want to kind of pause, skip ahead, see how I do that, that can help you out with transferring smaller eyes on. And another option, of course, would be to use bands, in which case you can wrap 2 bands of the color of your choice. I'll show you this really quickly. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then transfer those onto a doubled over single. Which, oh, you know what? I didn't even double that over. Oh, yes, I did. Ah, now I haven't done it. Okay, so that could go onto a doubled over single, just like so, and those can go onto your loom across the 3rd pegs down. That's another option. All right, let me fix that now that I undid that. Hold on. Let's try this again. Okay, either way, I would suggest doubling over your single just to keep tension in the face, otherwise it gets kind of bulgy. And whatever form of eyes you've chosen, the band will go across the 3rd pegs down from the top. You want to get your hook between the eyes and bring up the top set over that 3rd peg down. Creates a little triangle and that will hold it in place better. We'll take the body off of the hook and transfer it onto the 5th peg down. I suggest putting it so that the bow faces away from you. It's not terrible if it goes the other way, but that should get the bow to face the front in the end. And we're almost done. We just need our side extensions. So on one side I did all black, and on one side I did black and pink. I'll start with the black side. Single black wrapped twice, and I put that onto, it was originally 10 sets. I think I took 1 off. So let's start with 9 sets here of double or 2 black bands at a time. we'll check the length then. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Something's catching there. 8. And 9. Of course, you can adjust this further yourself, and if you want to put an extra little, an additional chain on the lower one, you can you could add one of these on here as well, a smaller one right there, if you choose to. Otherwise, if you're happy with this length, which I think is about right there, yeah, then we'll put it onto the top center peg, and I'm going to come around here and bring it around, do what we did with that side chain. Put one over the top side peg, one over the next one down, one over the next one down, and one over the next one down. There should be just a little bit extra. Okay, and on the other side, I'm going to incorporate some bright pink. So for this one, I'll do a single black wrap twice onto 2 blacks. Feel free to play around with this. You could do much of it pink. You could do each part of the chain in pink. I did it on alternating pieces. So for the second pair, I'm using 1 pink and 1 black, and then 2 blacks, 1 pink and 1 black. This is my 4th set. 2 blacks for the 5th set. The 6th one. The 7th one is all black. A black and a pink for the 8th. And then 2 blacks for the 9th. Alright, we are almost done here. Let's put this on the top. Catch a bit of each chain to put onto the pegs below. So this is just exactly what we did on the other side, and it's what we did for the side chain on the bottom, and on the bow for that matter. Okay, and when you're ready, we're going to loop up the neck. So stretch that body out of the way. You want to find the top or the next 2 bands underneath. In my case, they are going to go over to the right side. The next 2 are going to the left side. And then the remaining ones will go up. It should look like this once you've got them all on. And we'll loop up the rest of the way in the middle. So under that 4th peg, come up once, twice, and 3 times. And on either side, you want to, hold on, I missed one there. On either side, you want to make sure that you're only getting the bottom 2. So the bottom 2 skin tone. Press back everything and take only the bottom 2 skin tone. And then there should be 2 black bands on the bottom. I feel like I need to pull those out to the side a little to see them better here. And get the bottom 2 triangular band, or sorry, diagonal bands from underneath your extension hooked in piece, and bring those up to the top middle center. The top middle. Okay. Other side, loop up 3 times. Bottom 2 bands only. Everything on top needs to be pushed out of the way. and to the middle, bottom 2. You can take 1 or 2 black bands, get it ready on the end of your finger here. Take the open part of your hook and point it away and go down straight through all of the bands on the top center peg. Catch that band and slide it up. And then you want to put the other side on and pull the further side over the top of the hook, and that will create a knot. And you can put that on a holding hook if you need to while you remove the rest from the loom. Okay, so this is the back I'm looking at now. You can see the bow is facing away. You can't see the eyes very well. So on the back side, I can put my hook under some bands, any old bands, and grab that securing band and slide it under. That can go onto a C-clip. Just a very quick trick here. If you want your arms to sit close to the body, you can put your hook under a nearby band, grab the finger, pull it under, and that can go onto a C-clip, and what that will do is hold it snug right there. Okay, I'm going to do that. And I'm actually going to cheat and bring this across to the other side. So yeah, you could do that and put a C-clip on either side. I'm going to weave across very quickly here. So under a band and pull the current one over. And this will allow me to, oh, C-clip came out of the hairpiece here. And that will allow me to okay, that will allow me to put the other hand on without, with only using one C-clip. Kind of cheating. You might also want to put your gold band on at this point. You can use 1 or 2. You can double it over. I believe I just stuck 2 on top. That can just go up over the legs and over the skirt and sit right where you want it to sit. So that's something you might want to do before you do arm adjustments if you're choosing to do that. Okay. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of this other hand so that it stays close, as I say, and pop that on a C-clip. If that's looking a little bit unclear, don't worry about it. It definitely is not something you need to do. Just a little trick if you're want to play around with that. Okay. For the heart, if you do have a little bead you'd like to use, or you wanted to know that trick for the eyes, what we do is we put a piece of floss or thin wire or thread through the bead, and then you'll grab a band of the color that matches the bow in this case, and it comes back through and over and back through the bead. That's if your bead is just a little too small to get through the hook. And now it's on. I'm going to come through the back. This can take a little bit of finicking, can be a little bit finicky, but basically I'm going to try to find a spot. Okay, and grab one part of it, pull it through. I will use a C-clip to secure this once it's at the back. This one is a little hard to hold on to both sides. Oh, that was the wrong one. Bother. As I say, this part can be a little bit finicky, and have to go up soon. Right, let's try that again. Okay, that feels like the right one. Now, if you're feeling very confident, you might be able to just hold on to that for a moment while you bring the other piece through. And the other, I'm not feeling that confident today. feeling just a little bit off my game. So let's put that on the C-clip. There we go. Okay, now the top part, I want to bring that in from a little bit higher up, so I'll come through closer to the neck. There isn't an exact positioning for this. You just have to keep poking until you're roughly where you want it to be. And then we want to bring it back through. Another way, if this isn't working so well, if you're really struggling, another option, which I've done in the past with some projects, is to take a needle and thread and kind of sew it in. And then you can tie your thread off as you need to. Okay, and this will go on the C-clip. You could also make a... So I've taken the bead, I put it on a band, and then I pulled the top and the bottom side through. Okay, and there. All right, I'm sorry if it's a little bit hard to see. I'm just trying to secure this in the back. I'm putting it over a C-clip, and I'll put that C-clip under a random band nearby just to keep it snug. If you want to secure the hair in a little bit tighter, you can also, you know, go to the back and put your hook through and, you know, pick a spot to snug it under. I don't think you really need to for this though. And I believe we're on the very last step, which is the eyes. So I'm using Sharpies on these little pony beads. I'm gonna draw in some green circles. If you'd like to use another color or have don't have this color handy, that's fine. That's up to you. And I'll put a little bit of black on top. Okay, let me hold up the camera for you here. There you go. I think she's kind of cute. There's Draculaura on the Rainbow Loom from Monster High. And I hope you'll check out some of my other Monster High videos. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.